What if you stepped into an elevator and it never stopped? No buttons, no floor numbers, just an endless descent into the dream of something ancient, something waiting. Tonight, we descend through floors that should not exist. Welcome to the Shadow Hour. The building stood alone behind a fenced-off lot. No signs, no lights, no record of its construction. Its windows were mirrored, but none reflected the man. Beneath it, the basement pulsed with the hum of forgotten electricity. A single elevator sat at the far end, rusted shut, until it opened for him. He entered the elevator, not because it made sense, but because some part of him had already accepted this. The doors closed without a sound. The panel had no buttons, only a screen flickering with odd symbols. The elevator began to move, smoothly, soundlessly, endlessly downward. He was no longer in control. He stood in the center, staring at the walls that mirrored him incorrectly, each reflection just slightly wrong. The doors slid open into a vast VHS rental store that twisted at the edges. Endless aisles bent upward, shelves stacked with unlabeled tapes. Dozens of CRT TVs flickered along the ceiling, each playing different memories. Some weren't his. One screen showed him entering the elevator. Behind the counter stood a humanoid figure made of tangled magnetic tape. It stared, though it had no face. He did not step out. The air tasted like plastic and static. He watched silently as the tape figure tilted its head. The elevator doors closed before the creature could move. The elevator started to descend deeper. It stopped on the next floor, and the doors opened, revealing a forest, but the floor was made of connected PlayPlace tubes. Sunlight streamed through where no ceiling existed. Trees grew up through ball pits. Fog drifted along the ground. Laughter echoed, but always just out of sync. Above, something shifted in the tunnels, its long limbs scraping the plastic. He stepped out this time, only a few paces. The air was warmer here, humid. Something thudded above in the tubes. When he looked up, it paused, watching. Without looking back again, he returned to the elevator. Again, the elevator descended to the next floor. A dead mall, a food court locked in fluorescent twilight. Booths filled with mannequins frozen mid-bite. Menus flickered through symbols. Grease-slicked trays lay untouched. One mannequin's head twitched. Others stayed still, waiting for something that would never be served. He never stepped out, not this time. He just stared. One of the mannequins turned slightly toward him. Then the doors slid shut with a low hiss. The next floor was a school gymnasium, but every wall was a mirror, and not all the reflections made sense. Some mirrored him. Others stared back, slightly off. One copy of him screamed silently. Another turned and walked away, deeper into a version of the gym that didn't exist. He stepped out for a moment and looked into one mirror. His reflection blinked out of sync. When the one on the far wall began screaming, he backed into the elevator without turning around. Onto the next floor he went. The walls were pastel pink, a birthday party set for no one. Melting cake, deflated balloons, streamers like spiderwebs. Each chair was covered with a white sheet. Beneath one, something breathing. The music played itself, slowed, distorted. The candles lit themselves. He stayed within the threshold. The air smelled like sugar left too long in a wet basement. One of the sheets rustled. A long breath escaped from beneath it. He didn't wait to see what else would happen. The elevator accepted his return with a quiet ding. The elevator opened into water. A shallow layer covered the floor. Neon blue lighting pulsed under the surface. Water slides vanished into darkness. Lifebuoys floated without ripples. Something moved under the surface, huge, slow, unseen. He didn't move. The water was already lapping into the elevator's threshold. From beneath the neon blue surface, something massive stirred, not swimming, but rising. He hit the elevator's wall behind him. The doors took longer than usual to close. Next, the doors opened to an arcade glowing with deep red light. Machines screamed for tokens. At the prize counter stood a figure stitched from carnival plush toys, holding a helium balloon. The balloon had a human face. Its mouth was open. He stepped out a few feet. The air buzzed with static and artificial joy. The plush-stitched figure behind the counter began to turn. The balloon in its hand twitched, its face contorting. He ran, terrified, back into the elevator. He lost track of time and the number of floors. It felt like he had been descending forever, like he was stuck in a hellish loop of nightmares. The elevator kept opening to impossible places. A childhood bedroom, walls dripping like wax. A hallway where every door led to the same room. A copy of the first floor, but never ending without any doors. Sometimes he stepped out. Sometimes he didn't. It didn't seem to matter. He was beginning to forget what was real, or if anything was ever real to begin with. The doors opened to silence. A city in the clouds, made of sideways homes, floating signs, spiraling roads. A cracked cul-de-sac hovered in the sky. Above it, a black sheet figure hovered still. And the sign, "Welcome home." He stepped forward, not because he chose to, but because there was nothing else left to do. The elevator vanished behind him. The air shimmered. The sky pulsed like a living thing. The elevator was gone. Only the city remained. The sky never changed. The clouds never moved. And others walked here too. Silent people holding birthday hats, shopping bags, balloons. None of them ever looked at him. He walked the spiraling roads until they circled back to where he started. So, he just kept walking. Some doors were never meant to open. Some elevators don't stop because they were never going anywhere, but down. If you hear the chime, if the buttons are missing, if the walls don't reflect you anymore, you've already left. This has been the Shadow Hour.